the lectern isn't in the way, is it?
I'll set to the side of me.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to introduce, well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First, I introduce this picture. There's a picture of me and my father. You look nice, right? I was about 6 years old in that picture. 7. A common mistake with us all is that we think life is supposed to be perfect. And in fact, we're really not perfect at all. Some of us may seem perfect on the outside, but we're very far from it. And there was a person I thought in my life that was perfect, and that was my father. You know, I had very high expectations from this man. He's guided me through a lot in life. He's led me through many troubles as a kid. But some people hated my father, and some people loved him. And I was one of those that loved him. He was the most important person. And because of him, I was able to evolve my character and become a better person than I was yesterday. And when everyone counted this man out and kicked him while he was down, I stood by him, and he blossomed, and he proved to me and my family the man he said he was. But one day, I lost my role model, my father. And my mother woke me up one morning. I was about 7 years old. This was actually a birthday picture. And it was about a week after this picture, she told me that my father wasn't going to be around for a long time. And that was the day his mistakes became my mistakes. And they influenced my mistakes. My father was born July 9th, 1972. He was born in one of the boroughs of New York City, the Bronx to be exact. He was raised through his teenage life in New York, well, Norfolk, excuse me. He was the only child on both sides of his parents. His mother was a registered nurse in New York, and his father was a broker out of New Jersey. His mother moved here from New York to Norfolk with her brother because she became sick. She had cancer, and that's what got them out of the city. And my grandfather, which is my father's father, he wasn't around too much to guide my father in life, but he provided finances. So you could kind of say that he grew up in a pretty stable home. My father, he was a very smart student, straight A student all his life. He had every report card, every award he's gotten from kindergarten to graduating. And he always wanted to be a lawyer. But things turned around for the worse for my father. You know, when my grandmother moved here from New York, she wasn't aware of the neighborhoods and the environments that she moved into. And being that my father didn't have much family, he kind of wanted to fit in with everybody. He was different. He came into, he would say, a country. He was a city kid, and things was much different here for him. And he was easily influenced, just like I was when I was a kid. And I followed and just wanted to fit in because I knew I was different. You can next slide. This was the next picture I ever took with my father after my birthday. It's about 3 or 4 years later. My father was arrested. He was arrested for possession with intent to distribute a Schedule II controlled substance and possession of a firearm used to distribute a controlled substance. And this was in 2001. And I remember that date because it was a little after 9/11, and we were supposed to be going up to New York because he had friends there. And you know how that tragedy went. And he was released from prison in 2012, exactly 2 weeks before I graduated high school. And that was a very, very rough time for me with him gone. You know, I went from a lot of shiny things to a struggle. You know, I experienced things that I didn't think I would experience. I experienced no power sometimes, no water, eviction letters, cars getting boots on them, everything. Anything you could think of a struggle of a single mother raising a kid. And when he returned to society a decade later, things was much different. I felt different. I felt disappointed. I had anger. And we didn't see eye to eye at all. And despite all my feelings, I set them aside because I knew it was something more important. And I knew my father had been punished too severely. So I helped him. I tried my best to help him find a job, which was difficult with the record he had. And he never found one. Never found one. And he manned up, and this is where he impressed me. He told me one day, he apologized for what he had done and how he let me down. And he said he's gonna enter the entrepreneurship world. And he started a trucking company. He struck gold. He became very successful. And his company is still running today. And he's just entered into real estate maybe 2 years ago, and he now owns 3 houses. I'm proud to say it because he completely changed his life around. And I was motivated. Okay, the next slide. See, my life started off very exciting, you know. I was a big basketball player around here. And I had, you know, hopes of balling in college. I had a few offers, but it was nothing like Division II or Division I schools. So I would always deny them because I wanted to play in the big stage. And I knew that I could. Next slide. I went on to graduate. And, you know, I planned on going to school. And I enrolled in Norfolk State. I knew a bunch of trainers there. I was planning to walk on my sophomore year. Maybe try out for a partial scholarship. Next slide. But I made a mistake. This was my biggest mistake. And I related to my father because he grew up without his father. And me growing up without my father led me to this. You know, and I have a fact for you. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there's a father absence crisis in America, and 1 out of 3 children live without their biological father in their home. And additionally, individuals from father absence home are 279% more likely to carry guns and deal drugs than their peers living with father. One day I was arrested. It's unbelievable. For 46 felonies. 46. I wasn't guilty. I presume not guilty the whole way in court. Most of those charges was conspiracy, meaning I knew something, I saw something, didn't actually commit the crime, but I held out. And I was 19 years old when that happened. And it was rough because I just seen my father go through this. And I went right down the same path. And unconsciously not knowing better because I knew I had all the information I needed to know what not to do. And I did exactly that. And that was a huge mistake for me. And I had to drop out of school. My basketball dreams just went down the drain. I was lost. And I was on trial. I fought on trial for almost 3 years. Almost. And finally I was acquitted for all charges. Not a scratch on my record. And I expunged my record, so it's sealed and no one can see it besides the government agent. And I had begun reconstruction of my life. And this is where my father really impressed me because he gave me tough love. He showed me that how I needed to fix my mistakes and that he wouldn't help me because he knew he didn't have help. And that led me to being very successful. I knew that I needed to pick up a trade because I needed to make money because I grew a lot of debt going to jail. I had lawyer fees, I had bad credit, I had lost a car with a car note. So I chose trucking the same way he did because he told me that I had a lot of resources in that. And I didn't really want to drive trucks. I had no liking in it. But I did it because I trusted him. Because he proved to me that he's a good leader. And I managed to clear up all my debt today. And I fixed all my credit. And I'm pretty soon going to be buying a house soon. And I'm doing better in college than I ever did in my life. I take it way more serious now. You know, right now I'm at like all A's and B's. I've run my GPA up after failing 5 classes when I got arrested to 3.4. And I landed a good job that I actually like. I actually love my company, and I want to move up in this company. And now I'm a mentor to the kids in Mount Pleasant Church. The ones that I spot out the ones that I think relate to me. Because that's the only one I feel I can help right now. And I really, really, really put a lot of pressure on them to just think everything through. And don't be in a rush for money, no matter what you're going through, because I learned from my father that money will come. As long as you have a plan, like that guy was just saying. Just have a plan. And I stand before everyone with confidence now. And I'm proud of who I've grown to be. I'm no longer embarrassed of what I've done, what I've seen. I didn't think it was possible for a kid like me, coming from where I come from, to be successful. And my surroundings had me thinking that. But when my father came in my life, he changed that by practicing everything he preached. He was my example of living proof. To this day, he's my living proof. And my father once explained to me that what he did and why he did it, and I understood him. Because it's hard. It's hard doing the right thing sometimes. And